Un compromiso con el futuro, un compromiso con la sostenibilidad y la educación que transforma. En el área de investigación, más de 111 proyectos han sido orientados hacia los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, como salud y bienestar, energía limpia y producción responsable. En el ámbito académico, se han integrado 40 asignaturas enfocadas a la gestión ambiental, el cambio climático y el ecodiseño, formando estudiantes con competencias para enfrentar los retos globales. La extensión y proyección social de la UMNG ha contribuido directamente a los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible con más de 105 acciones enfocadas en paz, justicia e instituciones sólidas. La Facultad de Ingeniería lidera la formación en temas ambientales, concentrando el 63% de las asignaturas relacionadas con la sostenibilidad. Nuestro compromiso no es solo académico. Hemos desarrollado una infraestructura sostenible, promoviendo el uso eficiente de recursos, el agua y la energía. En la UMNG creemos en la igualdad de oportunidades, brindando acceso a recursos educativos a toda la comunidad universitaria. Desde la gestión de residuos hasta el transporte sostenible, cada acción es una apuesta hacia un futuro más verde y justo.
Hoy, la Universidad Militar Nueva Granada, especialmente docentes, estudiantes y personal administrativo, asumen un compromiso permanente, constante, en la línea de sostenibilidad, recordando siempre estos 17 compromisos que asumen el Estado colombiano ante las Naciones Unidas al 2030. Un camino de sostenibilidad y de compromiso con los derechos humanos, especialmente aquellos de solidaridad. Con liderazgo estratégico y visión neogranadina, nos unimos en estos compromisos.
Juntos, construimos un mañana donde el conocimiento, la solidaridad y la sostenibilidad guían nuestro camino. Universidad Militar Nueva Granada. Educación neogranadina para la vida, el liderazgo y la paz.
Desde la Universidad Militar Nueva Granada, en Bogotá, Colombia, transmite UMNG Radio. UMNG Radio. Una emisora alternativa, cultural e independiente. Desde la Universidad Militar Nueva Granada. Esta es UMNG Radio.
Tune in and speak up. Hello, English learners. Want to learn something interesting whilst having fun? Welcome to Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast where you'll get to know this beautiful language in depth. Each week, we'll dive into exciting topics, share practical tips, and tell you fascinating English language stories. So whether you're studying, going to work, or just relaxing, connect, listen, and let's make English part of your world. Wherever you are, whenever you want, just hit play, tune in and listen up. Tune in to UMNG Radio every Tuesday from 11 a.m. till noon. Don't just learn English, live it.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast from Universidad Militar Nueva Granada, where we explore curious stories, surprising facts, and cultural insights from around the world, all through the lens of English learning. This is the podcast where unusual events from history and culture become your classroom for English practice. I'm Jorge Bermúdez, teacher of English at the Department of Multicultural Studies at UMNG, part of the School of Education and Humanities. I'll be your guide through some of the most unusual and thought-provoking topics, from important celebrations, Christmas, to forgotten inventions and strange scientific discoveries. So whether you're learning English as a second language or just love learning something new, this podcast is for you. Ready to improve your listening skills, expand your vocabulary, and engage in meaningful conversations? Then grab your headphones, tune in, and let's speak up. Today is our last episode of season 2 on Tune In and Speak Up. It's our Christmas special. Christmas is here. So, as I was saying, this is the final episode of season 2, and today we're closing the season with something special. In this Christmas episode, we will take a journey across time and discover how one of the world's most famous holidays came to be. Christmas is celebrated in many countries, languages, and cultures. But the story behind it is much older and more complex than we usually hear. Many of the traditions people enjoy today, lights, decorations, winter meals, and even some symbols of the season, have roots that go back thousands of years. In this episode, we will look at the origins of those traditions and see how different societies try to bring hope and warmth to the coldest, darkest days of the year. Long before Christianity appeared, ancient cultures created celebrations to welcome the winter season, honor their gods, and mark the return of longer days after the winter solstice. These early customs helped shape what we now recognize as Christmas. We will also explore how the meaning of the holiday changed after the rise of the Roman Empire and the spread of Christianity. When Christian communities began to grow, they adopted and transformed many older customs, giving them new symbols and new stories. Later, during the Middle Ages and the modern era, Christmas continued to evolve as music, art, literature, and everyday traditions shaped the celebration we know today. Finally, we will take a look at global Christmas traditions, from Europe and the Americas to Asia and beyond. Each region has added its own flavor to the holiday. Some customs are deeply religious, while others are cultural, social, or simply fun. Whether it's candies in Colombia, Christmas markets in Germany, or gift giving in many parts of the world, each tradition has its own story. So let's begin our journey with the oldest part of the story, the ancient festivals of Europe and the Mediterranean, where people watched the winter sky, lit fires against the cold, and waited for the sun to return. Yes, as we see in this slide, we're going to be talking about the ancient pagan roots of Christmas. Long before Christmas became connected to Christianity, many ancient cultures already celebrated the winter season with important festivals. Life in Europe and the Mediterranean thousands of years ago was very different from today. Winter was hard and frightening. It was a very dark time. The days were short, the nights were long, and temperatures were low. People often worried about food, sickness, and survival. Because of this, the winter solstice, the day when the sun begins to return and the daylight slowly increases, had great symbolic meaning. For ancient people, this moment was a sign of hope, a promise that warmth and life would eventually return. In Northern Europe, one of the most famous winter festivals was Yule. The Norse and Germanic peoples celebrated Yule for many days, sometimes even weeks. Families lit large fires and gathered together to share meat, bread, and warm drinks. They decorated their homes with evergreen plants such as pine, fir, and holly. These plants stayed green even in the coldest weather, so people believed they had magical strength or the power to protect a home. The Yule log, a huge piece of wood, burned slowly for good luck. It was another important symbol. The longer the log burned, the better the year ahead was expected to be. During Yule, people also told stories about the gods. One of the most powerful gods was Odin, who, according to legend, rode through the sky during winter nights on an eight-legged horse named Sleipnir, here in the picture. Notice that this horse has 8 legs. Children sometimes left food for Sleipnir, hoping that Odin would visit their homes with gifts. This old tradition helped inspire later ideas about Santa Claus and flying reindeer, the most common symbols today. Let's continue talking about the ancient pagan roots of Christmas. Far to the south, that was way up in the north. This is far to the south. In ancient Rome, people celebrated Saturnalia, one of the most joyful festivals of the year. Saturnalia honored Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. It was a moment to relax after the farm work of the year was finished. During Saturnalia, people exchanged small gifts such as candies, figurines, and sweets. They decorated their house with green plants, visited friends, played games, and enjoyed special meals. One interesting element of Saturnalia was that social rules were temporarily reversed. Slaves could sit at the table with their masters, and people wore bright, informal clothing instead of traditional Roman togas. The whole city felt alive, loud, and full of celebration. Another Roman festival closely connected to winter was the birthday of the unconquered sun, called Dies Natalis Solis Invicti. It was celebrated on December 25th. What a coincidence. And honored the moment when the sun seemed to grow stronger after the solstice. Because light was such an important symbol of life, many Romans respected this day. Historians believe that this celebration influenced early Christian leaders when they later chose December 25th as the date for Christmas. These ancient traditions help us understand that the ideas of light, hope, renewal, family, and celebration during the dark winter months did not begin with Christmas. They were already part of human life long before Christianity spread. However, when different cultures and religions mixed, this custom changed and took on new meanings. Over time, they slowly transformed into the holiday we now call Christmas, a holiday that continues to combine ancient symbols with newer traditions. Now, let's talk about the Christian meaning of Christmas. As Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire, its followers began to shape their own traditions and practices. In the very early years of the religion, Christians did not celebrate Jesus' birthday at all. The Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, describe the story of Jesus' nativity, but they do not mention an exact date. And early Christian communities focused mainly on Jesus' teaching and on Easter, which celebrated his death and resurrection. For the first 2 or 3 centuries, Easter was the most important Christian celebration, and many leaders of the church did not think birthdays should be celebrated at all. Easter, here we have the Easter eggs. Remember that we don't have this custom, but because we have the Holy Week at the same time. Things began to change in the 4th century when the Roman Empire started to accept and sometimes even support Christianity. This was after Constantine the Great. A major moment came in the year 313 when the emperors, Constantine, I just mentioned him, and Licinius issued the Edict of Milan. This law made Christianity legal and protected the rights of its followers. Suddenly, Christians could build churches, organize public events, and celebrate their beliefs openly. Because of this new freedom, Christian communities grew quickly in size and influence. During these periods, church leaders began discussing how to honor the birth of Jesus. Different Christian groups had different ideas, and early calendars do not always agree. But around the middle of the 4th century, something important appeared. December 25th began to show up as the date of Jesus' birth in official Christian documents. One of the most famous examples is the chronography of 354. Here we have the cover on the picture on the right, a large illustrated book that included a Roman calendar. It clearly marks December 25th as the birthday of Christ. This is one of the earliest written proofs that Christmas was celebrated on this day. Why December 25th? Historians believe that Christian leaders chose this date for several reasons. One strong possibility is symbolism. In Roman culture, December 25th was connected to the winter solstice and to festivals celebrating light, such as the birthday of the unconquered sun that we just mentioned. Remember, the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti. These celebrations marked the moment when sunlight slowly began to return after the darkest part of the year. For Christians, this idea fit very well with their belief in Jesus as a bringer of spiritual light and hope. In the Gospel of John, Jesus is called the light of the world, and the theme of light overcoming darkness appears often in Christian writing. Important Christian authors from the 4th century also supported this symbolic connection. For example, Saint Augustine wrote that Christ was born on the day when the sun begins to grow stronger, making it a powerful sign of new life. Saint Ambrose also described December 25th as a day full of spiritual meaning, linking the natural world to Christian faith. The writings helped convince many believers that this date was appropriate and meaningful. By the end of the 4th century, Christmas had become a recognized Christian holiday in many parts of the Roman Empire. Churches created special celebrations that included prayers, music, readings from the Bible, and community gatherings. These traditions continued to evolve over time. As Christianity spread into different regions, people combined Christian practices with their local customs, many of which came from older pagan traditions. This blending slowly shaped the Christmas holiday into a mix of religious devotion, community celebration, and family tradition, a mixture that still exists today. Oh, look at this, the tradition of the Magi. During this same period, another important part of the Christmas story gained significance: the visit of the Magi, also known as the three wise men or three kings. Their story appears in the Gospel of Matthew, Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 to 12, okay? Where they follow a special star that leads them to Bethlehem. They brought three gifts: gold, symbol of kingship; frankincense, used in worship for the smell; and myrrh, connected to healing and burial practices. The Bible does not say how many magi there were, but because the gospel lists three gifts, Christian tradition later settled on the number 3. Their names, Melchior, Caspar, and Balthasar, appeared much later, around the 6th century, in Christian writings that expanded the story. The celebration of the Magi became an official part of the Christian calendar by the 4th century, when the Feast of Epiphany, January 6th, was widely established. Epiphany celebrated the moment when the Magi recognized Jesus as a special figure. This tradition is very old, at least as early as the year 361, according to historical records describing Epiphany celebrations in the Eastern Mediterranean. In many countries today, especially in Spain and in some countries in Latin America, Epiphany remains a major celebration. Children received gifts on January 6th in memory of the Magi's visit, and popular traditions like the Cabalgata de Reyes, a festive parade, and Rosca de Reyes or Roscón de Reyes in Spain continue to bring people together. Okay, let's talk about the Christmas in the Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, Christmas continued to grow, change, and slowly take the form we recognize today. This period, which lasted from about the 5th to the 15th century, was a time when European societies mixed Christian beliefs with older local customs, folklore, and artistic traditions. As Christianity became stronger and more organized, Christmas became not just a religious day, but a whole season filled with celebrations, performances, and community events. One important development during this time was the creation and spread of nativity scenes, el pesebre, here in the picture, and nativity plays. The tradition of showing the birth of Jesus with figures and decorations is often connected to Saint Francis of Assisi, who is believed to have created one of the first live nativity scenes in the 13th century. Nativity plays were simply theatrical performances that used drama, music, and costumes to show the story of Mary, Joseph, the shepherds, and the angels. These plays were usually performed in churches, town squares, and sometimes in traveling fairs. Because many people in the Middle Ages could not read, these performances helped them understand the biblical story in a clear and emotional way. Music also became an essential part of Christmas celebrations. Early Christmas songs were mostly religious hymns, such as in sung in Latin, the language of the church. Remember, they started speaking Latin because they came from the Roman Empire. As time passed, songs in local languages such as English, French, and German became more common. These songs were easier for ordinary people to learn and sing, and they eventually developed into the Christmas carols we know today. In some regions, traditions like wassailing became popular. Groups of singers would go from house to house, offering songs and blessings in exchange for small gifts, hot drinks, or food. This helped create a sense of community and goodwill. The Middle Ages were also famous for their large Christmas feasts. For many families, Christmas was one of the few moments of the year when they could enjoy special foods, including meat, sweet bread, fruit, and spiced drinks. Wealthy households prepare huge celebrations lasting several days, while villages often share food with neighbors and people in need. Giving to the poor during Christmas was considered an important Christian duty, and it helped strengthen social bonds. However, not everyone agreed with the way Christmas was celebrated. Some church leaders worried that the holiday included too many customs from older, non Christian traditions, such as singing, dancing, and drinking, and not enough religious reflection. These concerns grew stronger in later centuries. For example, during the 1600s, the Puritans in England and in some American colonies, remember that we talked about those Puritans arriving in America last week when we talked about the Thanksgiving celebration. So that was 1620, remember. So these people argued that Christmas was not biblical and that the celebrations were too noisy or wild. I think that the same happens today. In some places, they even banned Christmas for a short time. But even with these challenges, many traditions survived through popular culture and returned once the bans ended. By the end of the medieval period, Christmas had become a season full of music, storytelling, religious ceremonies, and community gatherings, and also shared meals. Many of the customs that started or developed during that era, such as carols, remember that's the Christmas music, nativity scenes, remember that's the pesebre, and festive food, form the foundation of the modern Christmas traditions that people around the world still enjoy today. Okay, let's talk about the Krampus, a dark figure in a season of light. As Christmas traditions developed across medieval Europe, not every character connected to the season was joyful or kind. Many stories celebrated hope, generosity, and the miracle of light during the darkest weeks of the year. But some communities preserved older, more mysterious characters from local folklore. In the Alpine regions, especially in parts of modern Austria, Germany, and northern Italy, people told stories about a frightening winter creature known as Krampus. Unlike Saint Nicholas, who symbolized kindness, charity, and reward, Krampus represented discipline and consequence. His presence reminded families that the holiday season was not only about celebration, but also about moral behavior and tradition. Parents often use the legend to teach children about right and wrong in a memorable, dramatic way. Krampus is usually described as half goat and half demon, with long black or brown fur, curved horns, and glowing or piercing eyes. He has sharp teeth and a long red tongue that hangs from his mouth, making him look both strange and terrifying. According to tradition, Krampus carries heavy chains that rattle cling, 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 as he moves, a symbol that a symbol that may have been added by Christian storytellers to emphasize his darker nature. He also holds a bundle of birch sticks, that's wooden sticks, called a ruten, which he uses to scare misbehaving children. In older tales, Krampus would visit homes on the evening before St. Nicholas Day, December 5th, sometimes entering houses or walking down village streets alongside Nicholas, St. Nicholas. So remember, the two of them go together in this tradition. While St. Nicholas rewarded good children with small gifts like fruit or nuts, Krampus delivered warnings, rules, and loud noises to those who had not behaved well. The origins of Krampus are not completely clear, but many historians believe the figure may have roots in pre Christian winter rituals common in the Alpine regions. These rituals often included wild animal costumes, masks, and parades meant to change away evil spirits during the coldest part of the year. When Christianity spread across Europe, many local customs did not disappear. Instead, they blended with the new religious practices. The result was a cultural mix where joyful Christian celebrations existed side by side with older legends of fear and protection. This blending or of belief created a striking contrast. The gentle Saint Nicholas, ho ho ho, paired with the fearsome Krampus. Together, they represented a balance of blessing and warning, kindness and consequence. For many rural villages, this combination became an important annual tradition that brought the entire community together. Today, Krampus remains a well known part of Christmas culture in Central Europe, but the way he is celebrated has changed over time. Many towns organize Krampuslauf or Krampus runs, where groups of people dress in elaborate costumes made of carved wooden masks, bells, and heavy furs. Participants parade through streets making loud noises, dancing, or playfully scaring spectators. These events attract tourists from around the world and have become a blend of folklore, art, and community performance. What was once meant to frighten children has transformed into a celebration of local identity and cultural heritage. Modern Krampus festivals are sometimes intense, but also exciting and full of energy, showing how traditions evolve across generations. Although Krampus is not part of Christmas celebrations everywhere, the legend reminds us of how wide and imaginative winter traditions can be. It highlights how different cultures express hope, fear, generosity, and protection in their own unique ways. It also shows how stories from the distant past continue to shape holiday customs today, connecting communities to their history while inspiring new expressions of creativity. And while the legend of Krampus adds a darker shade to the holiday season, many other modern traditions around the world focus on light, family, and joyful celebrations. So let's explore how Christmas continues to evolve in today's global culture. Let's talk about the Victorian Christmas, the birth of many modern traditions. Victorian Christmas. After exploring the darker side of medieval folklore with Krampus, we now move into a very different moment in history, the Victorian era. This period, which took place during the 19th century, completely transformed Christmas. Many of the traditions we enjoy today, the family gatherings, the decorated trees, the Christmas cards, and even the friendly image of Santa Claus, became popular during this time. During the reign of Queen Victoria in the United Kingdom from 1837 to 1901, Christmas began to change from a simple religious holiday into a warm, family centered celebration. One major influence was Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, who was from Germany. In German speaking regions, families decorated evergreen trees for Christmas. Remember, we mentioned that tradition from centuries before. Prince Albert brought this custom to the British royal family. When a newspaper published an illustration of the royal family gathered around their beautifully decorated tree in 1848, here in the picture, people loved the idea and quickly copied it. Soon, Christmas trees became a common part of holiday celebrations in many English speaking countries. Another important Victorian invention was the Christmas card. Here to the on the right, on the lower right, we have the first Christmas card. In 1843, a man named Sir Henry Cole created the first commercial Christmas card. The idea became extremely popular, especially as the postal service expanded and letter sending became easier and cheaper. People enjoyed sending short messages of kindness and good wishes to family and friends, and this tradition continues today all over the world, even though I don't remember the last time I got a Christmas card. I'm sure that was long ago. The Victorians also loved Christmas literature, and one story became especially influential: A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, first published in 1843. Here we have also an image of this Christmas uh, Christmas Carol. This story, with characters like Ebenezer Scrooge and the ghost of Christmas present. Remember the three ghosts, right? The ghost of Christmas past, present, and future Christmas. Encourage people to think of Christmas as a time for generosity, compassion, and community. Dickens helped shape the emotional meaning of the holiday, focusing on kindness toward others, especially the poor. New Christmas foods also became popular during this time. In Britain, families prepared these dishes such as mince pies, plum pudding, roasted goose or turkey, and special cakes. Many households also used Christmas crackers, a fun invention by Tom Smith in the 1840s. These small tubes made a pop sound when pulled apart and contain jokes, small gifts, and colorful paper crowns. Another tradition that still exists today. Victorian Christmas celebrations were also full of music and charity. Caroling grew stronger as choirs visited homes, churches, and streets to sing familiar songs. At the same time, many people began to see Christmas as a moment to help those in need. Charitable organizations prepared meals, gave warm clothing, or collected donations for poor families, connecting the season with kindness and social responsibility. By the end of the Victorian period, Christmas had become a festival full of warmth, joy, and family tradition. This era shaped the holiday in ways that continue today. Whether it is gathering around a decorated tree, sending cards, enjoying a big family meal, or reading a heartwarming story, many of the things we consider classic Christmas were born in the 19th century. So this year, when you decorate your home and your Christmas tree, remember that all these practices, this decoration, comes from the Victorian era. Okay, let's talk about the modern Christmas traditions around the world. As the world changed in the last few centuries, Christmas continued to evolve and take on new forms. Many of the customs people recognize today were shaped during the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries when travel, migration, printing technology, and later radio, films, and television helped spread traditions from one region to another. Christmas gradually became a holiday that combines religious meaning with family activities, creating entertaining and community celebration. It is now one of the most widely celebrated cultural events in the world, even in places where Christianity is a minority religion. One of the most easily recognizable figures of modern Christmas is Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho. His story comes from a blend of different traditions. The earliest inspiration was Saint Nicholas, a 4th century bishop from Myra in present day Turkey or Turkey, known for helping the poor and giving secret gifts. Over many centuries, stories of St. Nicholas spread through Europe. In the Netherlands, he became Sinterklaas because of the pronunciation, right? Saint Nicholas, Sinterklaas, a figure who arrived by boat and brought presents to children on December 5th or 6th. Dutch immigrants later carried this tradition to North America in the 1600s and 1700s. There, English speaking communities mixed Sinterklaas with British holiday customs. During the 1800s, writers, poets, and illustrators shaped the modern Santa, a cheerful man with a wide beard, a red suit, and a team of flying reindeer. Remember, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, is leading the group. The 1823 poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, also called The Night Before Christmas, and later magazine illustrations helped create the image we still use today. Another key symbol of modern Christmas is the Christmas tree. This custom began in German speaking areas in the late Middle Ages and early modern period. Families decorated evergreen trees or wooden pyramids with candles, apples, nuts, paper flowers, and small sweets. The tradition spread slowly across Europe, but it became very popular in the 19th century thanks to Prince Albert. We just mentioned him, the German born husband of Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom. When newspapers published an illustration, here we have the original illustration on the bottom right corner. Okay? When they published this illustration, millions of people saw it and adopted the tradition. Over time, candles were replaced with electric lights, and ornaments became more colorful and creative. Today, Christmas is celebrated in many different ways around the world, and each culture brings its own flavor to the holiday. For example, in Germany, festive Christmas markets fill city squares with wooden stalls, warm drinks, carols, and handmade decorations. Traditional foods like gingerbread and roasted nuts create a cozy atmosphere that attracts both locals and visitors. In Mexico, families participate in Las Posadas, a 9-day celebration that reenacts the journey of Mary and Joseph. Children sing at each house in the neighborhood, and the night often ends with a colorful piñata full of sweets and fruit. In Colombia, a tradition of players, music, and shared meals that brings neighbors, friends, and relatives together. Something happened. Are we back? Yes. Okay. Okay. In Japan, Christmas is mostly a secular celebration. Since the 1970s, a special Christmas meal from a well known fast food restaurant has become a surprising national tradition. People also exchange small gifts or enjoy light displays in the city. Other countries have their own special customs too. In Australia, Christmas happens in summer, in Argentina as well. So families celebrate with barbecues, beach trips, and outdoor concerts. In the Philippines, Christmas is one of the longest seasons in the world, starting as early as September. with colorful, like in Colombia, with colorful lanterns called paroles decorating homes and churches. In Ethiopia, Christmas is celebrated on January 7th with a religious festival known as Ghana, marked with church services, traditional clothing, and family gatherings. These examples show that Christmas is both ancient and modern. It carries traditions from long ago, but it also changes as societies grow and new ideas appear. Even though people celebrate in different ways, many traditions share the same themes: bringing light during dark days, showing generosity to others, connecting with family and community, and expressing hope for the future. Okay, let's talk about today's vocabulary. Christian, please make this big. There you go. Before we finish this episode, let's review some keywords and expressions. These terms appear in the story and can help you talk about Christmas traditions, history, and culture. Our usual vocabulary review. Number one, winter solstice, the shortest day of the year when daylight begins to return. In a sentence, we can say, people in many ancient cultures celebrated the winter solstice because it marked the return of longer days. Number two, evergreen, a tree or plant that stays green all year. In a sentence, you can say many families decorate their homes with evergreen branches during the holiday seasons, and that's why we decorate with these green, beautiful plants, garlands, I think it's the name. Number three, Yule, an ancient winter festival from Northern Europe. In a sentence, we can say the festival of Yule included big fires, feasts, and stories to welcome the winter season. Number four, Yule log, a large piece of wood burned for good luck during winter celebrations. In our example sentence, we can say, during Yule, families burned a large Yule log to bring good luck for the new year. Number five, Saturnalia, a Roman festival with gift giving, decorations, and feasts. Our sentence, in ancient Rome, Saturnalia was a joyful festival with gifts and colorful decorations. Number six, Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, a Roman celebration on December 25th. In our sentence, we have the Romans celebrated Sol Invictus on December 25th to honor the unconquered sun. Number seven, Nativity, the Christian story of the birth of Jesus. Example, the Nativity is a central part of Christmas for many Christians, and don't forget Nativity scene, pesebre. Eight, carols, traditional Christmas songs, usually cheerful and easy to sing. People enjoy singing carols in the streets and in churches during Christmas time, like uh, Christmas carol. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Okay. Number nine, wassailing, an old custom where people sing at houses for good luck. Wassailing was an old tradition where groups visited homes and sang in exchange for food or drink. And number 10, Saint Nicholas, a 4th century bishop known for generosity, later connected to Santa Claus. Example, Saint Nicholas became famous for helping children and giving gifts to the poor. These words show how Christmas traditions come from many cultures and time periods. Knowing them will help you understand and talk about the holiday with more confidence. Okay, let's go to our final thoughts and closing of the second season. We have now reached the end of our Christmas special and also the end of season 2. In this episode, we traveled across centuries and explored how one holiday can carry so much history. We began with the world of ancient winter festivals, where people waited for the return of the sun and celebrated light in the middle of darkness. Then we moved to the Roman Empire and learned how festivals like Saturnalia and the celebration of the unconquered sun influenced later traditions. We also looked at how Christmas developed after the rise of Christianity, when the birth of Jesus became connected to symbols of hope and new life. As we continued through the Middle Ages, we saw how music, nativity scenes, and plays, storytelling, and food became central parts of the season. These traditions helped communities feel united during the coldest part of the year. Finally, we explored the modern world and discovered how different countries, cultures, and families celebrate Christmas today, from Christmas markets in Europe to candlelight celebrations in Colombia, from Santa Claus in North America to unique customs in Asia and Africa. The holiday continues to grow and change. Even though Christmas looks different depending on where you are, it continues to share the same main idea. It reminds people of light during dark days, of generosity and kindness, and of the importance of spending time with family, friends, and the community around us. These values connect the past and the present, and they make the season meaningful for people of many cultures and beliefs. This episode also marks the end of season 2 of Tune In and Speak Up. Thank you for being part of this journey, for listening to the stories, and for practicing your English with dedication and curiosity. Your interest and enthusiasm have made this season rich and rewarding. Every episode is created for learners like you, and your support motivates us to continue improving and exploring new ideas. We will return soon with a new season full of fresh content. You can expect new topics, new stories, and many more opportunities to grow your English skills in a fun, clear, and engaging way. Until then, we hope you enjoy the holiday season, no matter which traditions you celebrate and no matter where you are in the world. Thank you for being with us. Happy holidays, and we look forward to seeing you again for season 3. So, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all. Christian, thank you very much.
Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us some thinking pudding. Oh, bring us some thinking pudding. Oh, bring us some thinking pudding. Let's bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you.
Desde la Universidad Militar Nueva Granada, en Bogotá, Colombia, transmite UMNG Radio. UMNG Radio. Una emisora alternativa, cultural e independiente. Desde la Universidad Militar Nueva Granada. Esta es UMNG Radio.